Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a very special episode. This is Anon, otherwise known as Anonymous, otherwise known as Agent 67. Shout out to everyone out there. I have taken
Hello,
over.
everybody.
I have taken over Jose's live stream, and here we are to inform you guys of what's coming. Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, it's Halloween, or as some people like to say out there, Halloweeny. Who is some people, me and Lambo, we call it Halloweeny. In fact, we like to celebrate the Halloweeny roast, to be more specific. Anyways, guys, welcome back to another show. Welcome back to a very special show, a very special episode. Today is, like I said, we're going to be celebrating Halloween. We're going to be celebrating El Dia de los Muertos, all right, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow is Halloween, Dia de los Muertos, all that good stuff. And, me and Christian, just like just about everybody in Mexico, is going to be celebrating out this weekend, whether it's Halloween or Dia de los Muertos or both. All right. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Today is going to be just a fun episode. We're going to be here celebrating, it's Halloween, Dia de los Muertos. And while we do that, I'm going to go on ahead and, we're going to be playing a video in the background. This is back in the day. Some of you guys have seen this video. Some of you guys have not seen this video, but this is a long time ago, back when me and Christian were dating. And I went on ahead and I filmed the Day of the Dead festivities. And so we're going to just go on ahead and, I'll show you this as we're here talking about the Day of the Dead celebrations, Halloween celebrations. How do they do celebrations out here and all that good stuff? So, and hopefully you guys are ready for some fun and ready to enjoy the festivities. Again, we're also going to be going live on the other channel as well. We're going to have even more fun over there. But today, on this episode, on today's live stream here, we're going to go on ahead and we're going to be talking about how they celebrate Halloween, the Day of the Dead, how they celebrate all this stuff out here in Mexico, because they love it out here. They love the Day of the Dead, which is their version of the same celebrations. Again, it's completely different. The Day of the Dead is very different than Halloween. As you guys can see, again, you're going to be seeing throughout today's live stream in the background how they celebrate the Day of the Dead, specifically out here in Merida, Yucatan, which the celebration out here is called Hanal Pixán. Again, please, or Hanal Pixán. I don't know, I forgot. Maybe Hanal Pixán, I think is what it's called. Please correct me if I'm wrong. As you guys know, I'm just Agent 67 here. I basically just got the job the other day. Didn't even have enough uniforms, for me. So they just gave me this thing, and here we are. So again, for anyone out there that still doesn't know who I'm dressed up as, I'm just Agent 67 Anonymous. All right, Anonymous Agent 67. So it's a little hard to see in these glasses, so I'm gonna try and keep them on as long as I can. But either way, so out here, when I first moved to Merida, Yucatan, when I first moved out here to Mexico, Halloween wasn't really a thing. It wasn't really something that they celebrated much, especially not the way that we celebrate it in the USA. As you guys know, tomorrow, Friday, October 31st, all the kiddos, all the adults, everyone's going to be dressed up in Halloween in the USA. The kids are going to go out trick or treating. The adults are going to their Halloween parties and all that good stuff. Some of you guys have already partaken in some of the festivities, others not yet. But out here, last weekend, I remember I was out last weekend. Me and Christian, we went out to like some gallery opening of a friend of hers, and we were just hanging around the neighborhood while the event was going on, and we noticed that there was tons of people, tons of kids specifically dressed up Halloween, and they were going door to door, and they were just celebrating Halloween, just like how we do in the USA. And they did that last weekend, and I assume it's because again the kids. They know about Halloween. They're getting told about Halloween. They see it on social media. Everyone knows about Halloween, especially again, being so close to the USA. Mexico has a lot of similar, customs, or they take on some of the customs. I mean, look, in the USA, you guys celebrate Cinco de Mayo. I mean, nobody celebrates Cinco de Mayo here in Mexico except for a few spots. You guys even celebrate events, or or holidays like St. Patrick's Day or what have you. But regardless, here in Mexico, there's sometimes it goes a little what you call it, like there's a little man, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, anyway, sometimes they celebrate holidays just like that. Okay, so when I first moved out here to Mexico, Halloween wasn't really a thing per se just yet. But as the years have gone on, well, now Halloween seems to be a much bigger part of the festivities. And so this weekend, since tomorrow is Halloween and it's also the eve of Day of the Dead, the Day of the Dead is basically November 1st, 2nd, 3rd. But the events are, the first or the second. But depends on the situation. Like this year they're actually holding the events on the 31st. All right. So which is tomorrow. So that way, so the everything you're looking at right now, every single thing that you're seeing right now is what they have every single year. In fact, me and Christian will be out there. So if you're out here in Merida, Yucatan, and you happen to go to the festivities, again, you might bump into us out there. Okay. I'm not sure if this is what I'm going to be wearing, or I'm going to be wearing something else. I kind of just threw this together. It's just that Christian has been pretty busy this week, in the last week, because she's working in its centro. They're doing restorations of the theater that burned down a few years ago. They're doing restorations of artwork and all kinds of stuff. So she has a gig, out there working. So she gets home a little late. And so by the time she gets home, we got to figure out the costume situation and then go out. So tonight, when she gets home, we're probably going to go out, figure out the costume situation. So that way, when she gets home tomorrow from work, we can, she just get dressed and, shower, get dressed, whatever, get ready. And then we'll be out at the events. Now, these events that you're looking at, right there, the Day of the Day events, they usually run from around, I think, 6 o'clock at night, which, by the way, 6 o'clock p.m. out here already is dark. So from 6 p.m. to like 11 or 12 p.m. And basically what happens is that if you show up early enough, like, you're watching in this video, you show up around 5:30, 6 p.m., 6:30, whatever, you'll be able to see some of the things there, and then you'll be able to go into the graveyard. For some of you guys that have been watching the videos recently, you know that I took you guys on a tour of the main cemetery, the main graveyard out here in Merida, Yucatan. And that's basically where the main events are held. Okay. And so and I talked about it more in that episode. In this episode, we're also obviously going to go a little deeper. But anyways, that event, the events that you're going to be seeing in today's show, they happen within, again, you see, we're going inside the cemetery now. And so basically, if you show up early enough, you can go straight to the cemetery, you can watch all the fun events, and then once everything is done, then you guys can basically join everyone. Once the events are done and they have like a little bit of a parade, again, you're going to see all that. Once all that's done, then everybody starts leaving the cemetery, and then they start walking, basically all the way from the cemetery, el cementerio, all the way to La Ermita. Now, it's like from the cemetery to the La Ermita is like a 10-minute, 15-minute bike ride. If you're going to walk the whole thing, it might be like 45 minutes to an hour. But the fun part is that, again, you get to go to the cemetery at night, which is never open, only during the Day of the Dead. You get to enjoy the festivities, enjoy the fun. Again, if you have never seen any of the events, I would highly recommend you go check them out. But for like me and Christian, I mean, we've already seen these events multiple times, so we usually just show up a little later, or we show up on time, but we just hang out on the outside. We're not in the cemetery per se. We hang out during the whole walk, the walk from the cemetery all the way to La Ermita. And so every single state in Mexico, every single city, every single region basically celebrates it completely different. They all have their version of the Day of the Dead. And so, like I said, out here, they have the Day of the Dead, which is Hanal Pixán, and it's like a mix of like the Mayan culture, the culture from this region, plus all the Day of the Dead stuff. And again, each place is a little different. Some people, some states, some cities celebrate it again with just even more fanfare. They got puppets and everyone dresses up. They usually dress up as Katrinas. You know what a Katrina is like those skeletons. So you see how everybody's just kind of getting dressed up, or paint their face painted, with the skeleton stuff and all that good stuff. So that's basically how that works. And so the Day of the Dead is very interesting because Halloween is just basically how we celebrate in the USA. Halloween is just basically you dress up as something, and depending on your age will depend on what you're doing. So if you're younger, you dress up like a Spider-Man or Superman or a princess or a firefighter or whatever it is, and you go trick-or-treating. When you're an adult, you just dress like a sluttier version of that. But anyways, the point is just it's just an evening or a day or a few days of fun where everybody gets to dress up and act like a kid again or whatever. And so that's how it is in the USA, and I don't know where else they celebrate Halloween, maybe Canada or wherever, right? But in Mexico, what they actually do is that they celebrate they celebrate the Day of the Dead. And so what the Day of the Dead really is that they're celebrating what we celebrate is the dead, basically. So long story short, everyone that has passed away, okay, at some point, whether it was again, a family member, your dog, your pet, your cat, your grandparents, your parents, whatever it is, whoever, a really good friend of yours, whatever. All right. What people do is that they set up an altar, which you're going to see again once we leave the cemetery region. We start walking around. You're going to see, people with their altars, and so basically what we would do, for example, me and Christian, is that we'll set up an altar and we'll put pictures of, our grandma, our grandparents. In my case, my father, because my father passed away a long time ago. People that passed away that meant, something to us, good or bad. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? We're here to celebrate their lives. We're here to celebrate the impact that they've had on us and all that good stuff. And so, yeah, long story short, we set up an altar. We set it up like around a day or two before the Day of the Dead, and then we leave it for a few days after. And so then we set up an altar, which is basically, we'll put up a table, we'll put up their pictures, and then we'll put up offerings. Okay, so for example, depending on who is on your altar, depending on who you're um, remembering, will depend on what you put on your altar. So, for example, if the person that passed away liked to drink rum and they like to smoke cigarettes and they love to eat Twinkies, so then you put a Twinkie, you put a cigarette, you put some rum, things like that. You get what I'm saying? Things that they enjoy or enjoyed when they were alive. Um, and things like that. For example, they might put like a blunt, in my altar, again, eventually when my time comes and things like that, to make so whatever it is that the person enjoyed and loved, that is something that they will put at the altar. They put food, libations, all kinds of things like that. And the whole idea is so that the dead come back. Okay. You're enticing them, with what they love. All right. Whether it's food, whatever it is, and food, drink, all that stuff, anyways. And then they come out. The idea is that their spirit will come out so that they can again celebrate with you, and you get to hang out with them for one more night, for one evening out of the year, and remember them and things like that. So a lot of people, they'll have like little again the altar, but then they'll have like a little ceremony. Some people take it a little bit more serious than others. It depends on how many factors, but it's something that is very personal. Okay. And I love it, because again, instead of being scared of death, that's one of the things that I love about Mexico is that out here, I mean, they celebrate death, the good, the bad, the ugly. And most cultures don't celebrate death. Most cultures, when death comes, it's sad, and people are always crying, and again, there's always that. But out here, they tend to celebrate the person's life. They tend to celebrate, um, the death. It's tend to celebrate, just everything involved around that. So again, even if it's someone that passed away that might have not been so good, when they were alive, it doesn't matter. They're dead, they're not around anymore. Doesn't mean that you cannot celebrate them, especially if they had some sort of impact on your life. So that's how they celebrate out here. But again, it's Mexico, so of course, they got that personal time where they're celebrating, with their loved ones that passed away and their loved ones that are still here. But again, it's a party. At the end of the day, they're celebrating. Okay, they're celebrating their lives. The ones that passed away, the ones that are still alive, they're just celebrating, just everything in general, another year that has passed by and things like that. So again, let's just move to the screen real quick to see, so I can tell you exactly what's going on screen. So as you guys can see, the events were over already. And once those events are over, they have like a parade. And that parade is, people that are dressed up, again, they got those, puppets, Katrinas. They got like, all kinds of decorations. Everyone has that face paint, okay, on them, which again symbolizes, the dead. So they're dressed up like the dead. All right. That's why that makeup is, looks like there's, like a skull, like a Walking Dead type of thing or whatever. And so, long story short, once that parade, you see, like the parade is just starting. There's a lot of people, and once that parade is done, then you can follow the parade. Now, if you are not in the cemetery, for example, let's say that you're outside, like me and Christian will be tomorrow. Then what we're gonna do is that we're just gonna show up at whatever time, and we're just gonna be eating and having fun and drinking and doing all that stuff. And then eventually they'll just stop the party for a minute and then tell everybody to make way for the parade. And so everybody just, parts the seas, the seas of humans, and everybody just moves to the side. And then the parade just, walks right through the whole street. And then the party begins again. So that's how they celebrate out here. And it's awesome. I love it. And so now, with Halloween being more of an integral part of celebrations these days, which again, you used to see it back then, but you're definitely seeing it more and more these days. Now you see everyone dress up, whether they're dressing up in the traditional costume, in the traditional makeup, in the traditional stuff, you know what I mean? Like you're seeing right there. You can either dress up like that, or you can act a fool like me and Lambo, all right, and just dress up. Again, I am anonymous agent 67. um, we got Lambo over here. He's just the Dolphins organization as a whole, is the hot mess over there, So I won more games than the Dolphins did this year. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So we got Lambo dressed up as a Miami Dolphin there. We got me dressed up as anonymous. What are you guys dressed up as? In fact, let me ask you guys, what are you guys dressed up as? Because again, I am just Agent 67. My friend told me to dress up as this. I was trying to figure out. I literally was early today for the show because again, since we couldn't figure out a costume, me and Christian, I didn't have anything for today, and it was a long morning, and I was trying to just dig through all my stuff, to find the costume. And then my friend out there, shout out to him, he's the one that suggested this costume. So hopefully, it seems like, I showed a few people before I went live and everybody was cracking up. It doesn't seem like many people are showing up to today's live stream today, which is fine. I get it. By the way, look, I do these live streams a lot of times, just for, craps and giggles for fun. I enjoy hanging out with you guys and having fun with you guys. Again, we're going to go live on the other channel in a little bit. All right. So just a reminder. All right. Once we're done here, hold on real quick. All right. Once we're done here. What did I do? Okay. Oh my gosh. Got everything all over the place today. Anyways, once we're done here, on my other channel, we're going to go live. And over there, we're going to have fun. Over here on today's show, we're just talking about, the events. I'm going to show you some videos. We're doing it Mexico style here. But on the other one, we should have a lot more fun. I know this is probably not as fun as some of you guys um might be aware of. I don't know. I'm literally kind of blind right now. I cannot see because of these glasses. I can I know there's some people in the chat, but I can't really see anything. So oh, I see a super chat. I see orange super chat says, what does it say? Trick or treat. Trick or treat to you, D-Mao. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the love. Because that's going to come in handy for tomorrow, that $20, because the Ubers just to get back and forth to the event is probably going to be expensive tomorrow. So I really appreciate that. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Shout out to you. Did I got it? All right. All right. All right. All right. Thank you so much, D Mal, for helping me celebrate. For all of us celebrating. In fact, so what do you guys? I think I asked you guys already, but I'm gonna ask you guys again. Man, and by the way, it is kind of crazy when you don't have all your senses together because it's like right now I can't see very good, so I'm partially blind here, and yet I'm way out of it because it's like I'm missing one of my senses. So it's not like I could see anyway. I'm even with my four eyes. I got six eyes. I got my glasses behind this. I got these glasses. I got six eyes and I still can't see. So terrible.
Bruh.
So let me see. ECS. I don't know. Sorry if I can't read it. It says, my dad loved not paying his bills. I'll be putting out his letters from collections. Yeah, there you go. That's great.
Bruh.
Yeah, so that's like the whole point. Like, look, I'll be honest, like my dad, for example, he did not live the healthiest life. My dad, so okay, my some of you guys know I talked about it a little bit in the cemetery tour. So my dad passed away when I was in my early 20s, like 21, 22 years old. But before that, my dad was sick. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, he just got one of those random diseases out there, like a lot of some people do out there, and it is what it is. And so as the years went on, eventually he had to get a heart transplant. And I remember when he got the heart transplant, and everybody was happy, and we were joyful because he got a extra lease on life. I remember during those times that the doctors were always like, all right, Senor Jose, because my dad was also named Jose. So, anyways, they were like, all right, Senor Artiaga, you got to make sure you got to eat healthy. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't whatever. And my dad was like, bro, I mean, are you kidding me? With everything I've suffered with the disease up until this point, and now you guys give me extra innings, aka gave me an extra lease on life. And once this heart transplant is over, it's over. You know what I mean? That's it. There was no chance of getting something else. So basically, my dad during those years was just living his life. You know what I mean? And instead of going extra mile, to get extra healthy, just so you can get a couple extra days, he was like, you know what? This is my last hurrah. I'm gonna live my life and enjoy my life. And so, my dad, he didn't do drugs, he didn't drink, he didn't do anything. But one thing that he loved to eat. By the way, he wasn't like a huge monster 400 pounder. No, he was just a regular guy. All right. Probably like imagine me a little fatter. That's it. Okay. Nothing crazy. So, but anyways, he loved to eat and he loved cigarettes. He loved tobacco. So every single year, when it's we got to do the altar, and I'm putting again these. Oh no, I'll show you the altars when we see them. For his altar, or for his you know offering, I'll put some cigarettes out. So I'll go to the little corner store and I'll buy some loosies, loose cigarettes. I'll buy a few loose cigarettes for him. I'll put a little bit of aguardiente. It's like an alcohol, but it has like an anise flavor. But again, it's just something he liked, but it wasn't like, he didn't drink, all right? But I'll put a little of that. I'll go to the bakery and I'll buy some baked goods because he loved baked goods. He just loved his breads and his baked goods. So I'll put things like that for him. I'll put some Cuban coffee. He loved this Cuban coffee. So that's what I put my dad. For example, Christian's grandpa, he liked to drink, like any Mexican, like any good Mexican out there. So she'll put, depending on what we got in the house. Because we'll put some beer or we'll put some, I think, rum, or I don't know what he liked to drink. I forget. Whatever. We always got a stocked, bar here. So I forget what we put for him. But anyways, we put what he likes, okay? Plus the food that he likes, and things like that. So everybody gets their thing. And so some of Christians' grandparents or, older folk, they'll like more like the fruits. Some of the typical traditional stuff from out here. They'll get the tamal, the tamal that we have around this time of the year. So around this time of year, we have el bib, which is a giant tamal, and it's a super specific tamal for these holidays, right? And so they'll get some of that. Again, my dad obviously doesn't get the tamal because he's Cuban, not Mexican, so he'll get his Cuban things, like a little guayaba, whatever, right? Look, there's an altar right there, as you guys can see, a mega altar. Our altar is not that big, it's just the table, a random table. It might be, oh, I don't have the table there. My bad. I have it over here because I was getting all the stuff from the closet. But anyway, just a table, and that's it. It could be as big or as small as you want. You see families just gather. So again, right now, everything you're seeing is us walking from the cemetery all the way to La Ermita. But as we're walking, you see people, selling traditional food, or they put up a table, right in front of their yard, and the whole family is just enjoying the festivities there, while they're having dinner, what have you, and so on and so forth. But this is why we love it. This is why we go every year, and because it's just like amazing. It's just like a super fun time to be had, and every year's a little different. It's basically kind of like the same event, but every year's different. Every year they got different vendors, different kinds of food. Everyone's dressed up differently. As the years go on, you see more and more people dressing up Halloween style, meaning, in just a regular costume, like you would I figure in Halloween and things like that. Right there, Christian is having one of her favorite junk foods. Um, it's basic. I forgot what it's called. I think it's like Tostitos or something like that, or what. But anyways, and so long story short, she'll go, she'll have that. Man, I think these glasses are, oof, man, I gotta take them off for a minute. Man, it's making me dizzy. Anyways, oh, that's better. Man, this is not easy. Man, this is, by the way, think about it. I don't know if you guys know, but I am, where I live, but it's very hot out here. And even though the weather is cooling down, I'm wearing, my anonymous gear, and this is very hot. And, maybe it's affecting my brain. Oh, what street is this on? You know what? That's a great question. Hold on a second. I'll find out in 1 second. Let me Google it, and I'll tell you the exact street. It's on 66. Okay. Calle 66. All right. So basically, I'll tell you right now, the walk from La Ermita to the cemetery is, yeah, it's like a 25-minute walk. Okay, so it's not even that long of a walk, all right? But obviously, it's going to take you a lot longer than 25 minutes, okay, to get from point A to point B, because you're going to walk slowly. There's a lot of people. You're probably going to get something to eat, something to drink. It's funny because, again, they're selling beer, they're selling alcohol. Now, obviously, the people selling out of their house, they're not selling alcohol. That's illegal. But as you guys know from living out here in Mexico, or if you've been to Mexico, they got like little liquor stores or beer stores, all across everywhere around the neighborhoods. So long story short, here, let me see if I can, hold on 1 second. Let me show you real quick. But 1 second, because I got like a lot of things going on here. All right, there we go. All right, so there, you can see right there, like how long of the walk it is. So right there from the center of the cemetery, all right, right there from the center of the cemetery all the way to La Ermita. All right. And so all the way at the top there at La Ermita, they have also like their own event and their own thing out there. But like the main thing is in the cemetery. But like, throughout the whole area, the whole street and just the surrounding area is going to be packed, packed with people and all kinds of stuff. But usually everyone's on that one street. Okay. So it's, again, calle 66, all right? Street 66, all right? So and it's all closed to traffic. It's just, people, and a lot of the surrounding areas are also closed to traffic. So just be wary of that. It's probably your best bet to go in an Uber. All right, if you're close by, walk over there. All right, but things like that. I remember that year. So this specific year, I mean, so you can give you guys some, you know, little context, all right? But I remember this particular year when me and Christian were still dating. So we got married in 2020. So this is in 2019, all right? But anyways, I remember that year I was so broke. I was so broke, and I remember once it was all done, and Christian was living with her grandma back then, so she was close by. So I remember, once it was all said and done, I went and I dropped her off. I walked over to her house, dropped her off, and her house here, I'll show you real quick on the map for a little context, all right? So you guys can see, you know, um, so her house was even further south. So, we walked from the cemetery, walked all the way up there, and then I walked all the way down past the cemetery, all the way down to grandma's house, and then trying to get an Uber. I remember trying to get an Uber, trying to whatever, and all the Ubers were so expensive, and I was so broke that I literally had to walk home. I didn't have a choice. So I had to walk from, man, I don't even remember, but somewhere down south, like down here, all the way down there, all the way to where I lived up in El Centro, which was like up here. You know what I mean? Somewhere up here in this region up here. What was it? Yeah, right here, right here. Can you see it? All the way up there. So yeah, I mean, took a while. All right. But I remember, yeah, that evening by the time I got home, I was so tired. I got home like at 1:30 in the morning. And again, it was just because I was so poor. I couldn't even afford, like a $10, $15 Uber to get home, which usually an Uber was like, three, four, $5 or whatever. And even then, that was stretching it for me back then. But anywho, so um, where was I? Hold on a second. There we go. Let's get back to the video there. But yeah, I mean, humble beginnings. I remember way back then. I was always on my Chevrolet. That's all I could afford. I didn't even have a bike or anything like that just yet. Um, so all right, let me read a few comments now that I can see. Um, Hola, Jose, desde Iztacala, what? Iztacalo, Mexico, Ciudad de Mexico. Anyway, shout out to you, brother. Where exactly is this? I'll be traveling to Merida tomorrow. Oh, perfect. So if you're going to be in Merida tomorrow, you'll be able to partake in these events. So, and let's see, buena excusa para ponerte bien pedo. That's right. It's always a great excuse to get drunk, to get high, to have fun, just enjoy and have a amazing time. And it's great because everyone is also doing the same thing. Everyone's drinking, everyone's enjoying their libations. Everyone is having fun. In fact, I love it because it's one of those things where I get to dress up and people don't know who I am and I get to be like everybody else because a lot of times, these days, if I just show up, looking like that, looking normal, I mean, so many people recognize me these days. So it's always nice to just go incognito, put on my glasses or put on my costume or what have you and just walk around and nobody knows who I am. So, well, I mean, I'm not gonna be wearing this costume tomorrow. All right, I'm gonna be wearing something completely different. So, if you do recognize me, please, say hi. All right, please, stop me and say hi. But let's, assuming you can recognize me, not all the time. Again, every year I dress up. I do it on the channel every year. So every single year I try to dress up here, and all that good stuff. So that's right, my Chevro legs. All right. So but it seems like nobody got my costume. Nobody understood my costume. So I guess it went over everyone's head. In fact, let me know. Did you? In fact, I'll do a chat. I'm sorry. I'll do a poll to see if anyone. Uh, do you know what I'm dressed up as? Let me see. All right. Yes, I can type. All right. See, you know what my costume is. I know I explained it to you guys a few times. I don't know if you. I'm all over the place today. But anyways, guys. So I mean, again, today I'm looking forward to it because every single year that we go, it's always different. It always changes up a bit. They always have like little events, depending on who is out there. Because again, sometimes you'll see people they'll dress up, and they'll have like an event. They'll do something like an event. Like for example, they'll dress up in the traditional Day of the Dead costumes, and then they'll stand outside of front of their house, and they'll do like a little play or like a little something, and then they just do it on repeat, so that people, as they're walking by, they get to stop and they get to see what they're doing. And so some people have like little photo booth type things, so they'll dress up or have like their whole house, looking a certain way, and then they'll you know was it welcome you to come in and take some pictures. You can get some food. For me, I go for the food. You know what I mean? I go to dress up. Look at that guy. That guy dressed up. That's a great costume. So again, I go to dress up, to have some drinks, have some fun, have some food, and enjoy the festivities. And again, that's another thing I love about Mexico. There's always so many events, so many festivities, so many things going on. Um, and a lot of the food is basically really traditional food because it's literally made by the people, that are the locals that are in the area. And I mean, it's awesome. I mean, again, they have the regular street food and the street vendors selling the street food, the snacks and all that. But for me, I tend to go to the tables, or I tend to go to the people that are making their food. And so, look, you see, like that person right there, she dressed up a certain way, and she's wanting for people to take pictures with her. And you're going to see more of that. You're going to see different things like that. But like I said, every year's a little different. So, now, like I said, so you see more and more people just dress up in Halloween and do a little bit more of that. In fact, it was very surprising to me, seeing last weekend, when we were out and about. Like I said, it was last Saturday. We were out I think it was in Calkel, the region, the northern part, where Calkel is, right? If you don't, just look it up on the map. Anyways, in the northern part of in the northern part of Merida, and up there in that region, it's pretty interesting because up in the Calcal region, especially at nighttime, it just looks like the USA. Like it looks very similar to um, suburbia and things like that. So with that said, it was really interesting to see, so many people, so many kids, so many okay, so many houses were, decorated for Halloween. Many of the homes were giving away candy. Many of the kids were dressed up for Halloween. And I remember, like I said, 7.5 years ago, and you would talk about Halloween, and they would be like, yeah, the kids, we'll get them and we'll dress them up and we'll take them to the mall, and then they could just walk around the mall, parade around the mall, because they couldn't really walk around the neighborhoods because nobody was giving away candy. But fast forward to again this year, and it was very surprising to see, again, like over there in Calcal, it looked just like Halloween in the USA. And they did it again. They celebrated Halloween this past weekend because nobody's going to celebrate Halloween tomorrow. Everyone is celebrating the Day of the Dead, the Day of the Dead festivities. And so, usually what they do is that they just mix them together, and that's it. And so that's kind of like where we're at now. And again, and every part of Mexico is different. In the northern parts of Mexico, the parts of Mexico that are like, Tijuana, Monterrey, some of the places on the border, the places that are really close to the USA, I assume that they celebrate Halloween, very similar to how you celebrate Halloween. And then they got Halloween and they got the Day of the Dead. But the further south you go, which is, I'm really far south. I'm like all the way at the southern tip here of Mexico. Halloween wasn't really celebrated up until very recently. All right. So that's something that has changed, throughout the years out here. So all right, let's see. I asked you guys, do you know what my costume is? Oh, hold on a second. Give me 1 second. We got Gizmo out there. Sorry about that. Let him out. Yeah, but Christian's not home right now to to take care of Gizmo for a minute there. Um. Oh, okay, okay. So I asked the poll, and I asked you guys, do you know what my costume is? And seems like 11 people have voted so far, and it seems like no, nobody knows what my costume is. Okay, so I am anonymous, Agent 67. That's it. I'm dressed up as anonymous 67. All right. So Agent 67. Six. Give or take. Anyway, so hopefully that answered your question. So I gotta get on my friend, man, because my friend told me that everyone's gonna know exactly what I'm dressed as. Everyone's gonna love the costume, and no, nobody gets it. Nobody understood it. Nobody likes my costume. So again, I'm gonna have to rehash and get a new costume for tomorrow. Um, so shout out to everyone out there. That's right. That's right. I'm in the Matrix. I'm in the 6-7 Matrix. Teresa Campos says, "Oh, I was about to read your comment. What happened? Where'd you delete your comment?" D Mouse says, "I'm too old to know what that means. I don't know what the hell it means either." All right. But that's the thing. That's what my friend told me. My friend told me that everyone would get it. Anyways, look at what you see what's going on. You see how they're having like a little event, a little whatever. So they have like all that set up, and then you can just go there and take your pictures, whatever. You know what I mean? So they got like a lot of cool things like that. It's really fun. A lot of cool little again, every year is different because every year they just add more and more and more and more, and they got like more little events like that, or more little plays like that, or more little things like that. They have other things as well for more interactive fun stuff for the kids and for everybody. But yeah, it's just super cool. It's just Halloween. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just everyone dresses up. Whether they're dressed up traditionally, the Day of the Dead stuff, or they're dressed up, regular in a Halloween costume or whatever. But I just love it. I love to see, everyone. Look at that. That guy's, like an 80-year-old, 90-year-old man, and he's still dressing up, having fun, doing his thing. And I love it, man. To me, it's I love it. It has renewed my sense of love for the holiday. Because look, in the USA, I'll be honest with you, Halloween was whatever. I mean, I only celebrated Halloween as a kid, as a teenager. What I mean. When you're a little kid, you're trick or treating, you're doing all that. Once you get a little older, you're still trick or treating until they tell you you're too old for that. No, but what I'm saying, once you get a little older, you're going to the parties, you're doing all that fun stuff. But once you get past a certain age, Halloween, it's just for the kids, really. For the kids and the young teenagers or whatever, right? So I never really celebrated Halloween much. You know what I mean? Past 20 something, past like 25 years old or something. I don't know. I just stopped celebrating it. Because there was no point to it. You know what I mean? But then once I moved to Mexico and seeing how they celebrate the Day of the Dead and Halloween and all that stuff out here, oh my gosh, I love to dress up every year now. I love the events. I love to be able to do all that stuff. And this year is going to be bonkers. It's going to be tons of fun. I'm assuming. I mean, I'm guessing because the 31st, which is Halloween, okay, is on the same day that they're holding the events. So again, usually the events that you're looking at right now is November 1st. But depending on various factors, on the scheduling, and all that stuff, because let's say that November 1st comes out on a Wednesday, well, they're going to celebrate it the weekend before, things like that. So, just like if July 4th is on a Wednesday, well, you're probably going to have your barbecue beforehand or what have you, right? But anyways, the point is that okay, so we're already at La Ermita. All right, that's that thing behind there, that big church. That's the Church of La Ermita. So we're there. All right, we finally walked all the way there. Now, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, but anyways, ever since I made it out here to Mexico, every single year, I love to dress up. Again, I think the last year where I did not dress up was probably this year. I mean, the year of 2019, maybe 2020, because I remember 2020 because of the pandemic. The COVID stuff. They didn't celebrate it because everything was shut down. So I think 2019, 2020, that's it. That was the last time I dressed up. But I remember immediately when they opened everything back up again and we were celebrating everything again like normal. That, yeah, 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25. Every single year since then I've been dressing up, and I've been looking forward to getting dressed up, and that's it. We're having a lot of fun out here. So again, I am dressed up as Anonymous Agent 67. Okay. I just got the job the other day, and this is the only uniform that they had left, and this is the number they gave me. All right. So it is what it is. So anyway, so okay, yeah, there you go. Teresa there. Okay, says, sorry, Jose. It's changed here in the USA to more trunk or treats. What's that? And not like when we were kids. What's a trunk or treat? I don't know. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, Teresa. Anyways, but I mean, I don't know how it's changed in the USA. I mean, look, I'm guessing how it's changed in the USA is that people just don't go out trick or treating as much. People might not have, well, this year especially, most families are struggling, probably putting food on the table, especially, the whole government shutdown, food stamps. I don't know. In fact, we'll talk about that more on the other live stream. Once we're done here, we're going to go live on the other channel and continue the celebration, probably crack open a beer or so or whatever. So again, we're having more fun on the other channel. Um, but I mean, I'm guessing that in the USA these days, Halloween is not what it used to be at all. Not like when we were kids. I mean, I can guarantee it. I mean, it wasn't the same when I left. I can't imagine what it is now. 7.5 years later. Um, but out here, like I said, it's just more of a celebration. Every single year, it's more and more of a celebration. Look, there's me at Grandma's house. All right, man, this is so long ago, man. We don't, yeah, we don't, yeah, we haven't even been there. Yeah, that house doesn't even exist anymore. Anyways, that's crazy. That's a long, long time ago there. So yeah, this is after the events, and then I went to drop her off at the house, and then I left. I walked from her house all the way to North Central. That took me over an hour, hour and a half. So that was interesting, to put it lightly. So um, I thought you were Kanye. Well, yeah, I am kind of sort of, you know what I mean? I guess, I am. I'm just Anonymous Agent 67. So I could be Kanye, I could be Kanye. The reason I'm not Kanye is because if I was Kanye, I probably would have already been canceled. The stream would have already been knocked down and taken down. So, I'll be Kanye on the next live stream. So, but yeah, kind of sort of Kanye, not. Oh man, I'm not gonna say what doctor it was that put me in this costume. It was a doctor. Anyways, whatever. I love Kanye. Shout out to Kanye. Um, by the way, sorry, if it's taking me a little longer to read the comments. It's hard to see with these glasses, right? It says cars. Oh yeah, Mister All Jackie says cars line up and they decorate the trunks instead of their homes. Give candy out of your car trunk. What? What? No, that can't be right. Are you trolling me? I think Mr. All Jackie is trolling me. That can't be right. The hell are you talking about? By the way, I'm not picking on you. I'm just curious. Is that a thing? People, can you tell me in the chat? Is that really a thing? Okay, again, cars line up and then they decorate the trunks instead of their homes, and then they give out candy out of your trunk? Trunk or treat? How's that even supposed to work? I don't understand. Why would you do that? I mean, was this like a COVID thing? I'm talking about how they celebrate it now. I mean, maybe, I guess during COVID, or people would just gather somewhere, right? So how does it work? What? So do people just uh decorate their cars, and then they go to a field, they go to a parking lot, and then they just park around the parking lot, and then the kids go from car to car. Is that what's going on? That can't be right. That can't be safety. Okay, so I guess it is right. I guess, yeah. I mean, yeah. Man, you guys just ruined my Halloween. You guys just ruined my day. That can't be. I'm reading all the comments. I guess it is right. Holy, what? I think it started. Yeah, so it started with COVID and it's stuck. Yeah, because I remember something like that during COVID, that they were doing something like that. Wow. No way, man. That is sad. That is sad. That is just sad. That's just sad. I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, you guys have left me speechless here. Like anonymous. Oh,
bruh,
that can't be right. It can be fun. You can go all out. Oh no. Oh no. No, there's nothing fun about that. How are you going to compare that, the trunk or treat, to what you're looking at right now? Give me a break. Because I remember when I was a kid, by the way, I'm not picking on you, Mr. All Jackie. I'm just upset with the situation. Okay. Wow, that is horrible. 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 Anyways, with that being said, horrible. All right, sorry. With that said, yeah, I mean, look, okay, so look, back when I was growing up, okay, I was born in 1981. So when I was trick or treating, it was in the early 80s, probably early 90s. I was probably already a, young teenager by then. But anyways, 80s, 90s. And what we did back then is, like, obviously we trick or treated, right? Door to door, trick or treat. Um, but they also had events like this. I mean, at least in Miami, they did. In Miami, I mean, it wasn't a Day of the Dead celebration or anything like that. I mean, I honestly never even heard about that really per se until I saw Coco, I think. By the way, I never saw Coco. But anyways, it was until I came to Mexico. I really never heard of it. Um, but I mean, at least in Miami, when in the 80s and 90s, I remember, they had events, where you would go to, like, the park where they would celebrate the 4th of July, and they had, like, events, like a fair, like a Halloween fair, or like a country fair, just Halloween themed. And they had the mall, people would go to the mall and do the thing in the mall, and they had, like, all these little events on top of the trick or treating. So that's how I was raised in the USA, with all that stuff. Um, but that trunk or treating, I'm not gonna lie. When I don't know who said it first. I think it was, who was it, Teresa? So when you were saying trunk or treat, I'm not gonna lie. I thought that what you meant was, like, when sometimes you would go trick or treating and you would go to a house, where there was nobody in the house because they were out trick or treating, and so they would leave, like, a bucket. They would leave, like, a jack-o'-lantern, whatever. They would leave something, a pumpkin. They would leave a something with candy. They would leave it like a giant bucket of candy, and then you just take the candy and walk off. Um, that's what I thought you meant by trunk or treat. That, I guess everyone would just put, like, a trunk, or put, like, a bucket in front of their house, and that's it. People don't even want to come out to greet the kids anymore. They just leave a bucket out there for the animals, like animals or whatever. But that's not what it was at all. It's literally the worst case scenario. That's crazy. A haunted parking lot. Wow. I'm still in shock that they're doing that. I mean, look, I understand. I guess during COVID, I guess. By the way, I mean, again, if you guys don't know, I was I was not following the lead during the COVID years, okay? This is why I love Mexico, because I get to be free out here and nobody gave a crap, all right? Whether you followed suggested protocols or not. Um so I remember when everything opened up out here and everybody was just hog wild to have fun again. And nothing from COVID stuck. The only thing that stuck from COVID during the COVID years here is one thing, and that is, okay, so in Asia, this has been going on for decades, okay? But in Asia, when somebody gets sick, they'll put on a mask in Asia just so that they don't get anybody else sick. Okay, makes sense. That's pretty nice of them. It's pretty nice of society. Like, hey, if you're sick, you put on a mask, you don't get anyone else sick. That's it. So that's the only thing that's caught on because I know sometimes, even in my recent videos and the videos that you see that I filmed today, 2025, you'll still see people randomly walking around with a mask on. Well, it's because they are sick and they don't want to get anybody else sick. That's all it is. That's all it is. Okay. There's none of that stuff out here. Um, but anyways, with that said, that's the only thing that stuck from those COVID years here in Mexico, from what I'm aware of. Um, but you're telling me about the trunk or treat, that is how they do trick or treating in the USA these days, and it just makes me so sad. It makes me really, it made me upset. I'm just sad now. But I mean, look, I mean, I mean, I wasn't going to talk about this today, but I might as well since it's brought up. But again, there's another reason why I live here. Everyone always asks me, not everyone, but a lot of people ask me, say, "Hey, Jose, when are you coming back to the USA? Hey, Jose, you ever going to live in the USA again?" And it's like, how can I ever go live in the USA again? The USA is not even the USA anymore. You guys don't even celebrate your freaking holidays anymore. In order to really celebrate Halloween these days, you literally have to go to another country. You cannot even celebrate Halloween in the USA like you used to celebrate Halloween. Now it's trunk or treat. What the hell? What the hell? What the helly? What the helly? What's going on over there? What are you guys doing over there? Why is that even still a thing? Why is it even a thing? Period. I'm sorry. I apologize. But anyways, that's never going to be a thing here ever. Ever, 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 ever. And again, another reason why I love Mexico. So out in the USA, they're not even trick or treating anymore. And I just told you guys that here this past Saturday, you know what I mean? Like I said, I was in Calcal, which is kind of like the suburbs, of this of the region of Mexico I'm living in here. Anyways, and they were trick or treating. I swear to God, because the thing is, we were at an art event. It was like this art culture thing that was there. Anyways, and so while the event was going on, I was just there hanging out. There was an OXXO, there was a gas station like a block away. So, I would go to the gas station to go grab a beer, go grab some Snickers bars, whatever, right? And grab a beer. Anyways, we were all grabbing beers. Anyways, the point is that every time that I would go out, to go grab some beers at the store, I would see, a brand new what is it, like a brand new group of kids dressed up for Halloween with their parents and then just doing the whole Halloween thing, just like how we used to do it. In fact, I was in shock by seeing how many people were doing the Halloween thing and how many people in the neighborhood had their houses decorated, how many people were doing the Halloween thing, giving away candy to the kids and just doing the whole Halloween thing in general. And now you guys are telling me that you guys don't even celebrate Halloween in the USA anymore? Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. So, I mean, look, it just goes back to everything I'm always saying on this channel. I mean, about the fact that, I mean, the reason I live here is because this is as close as I'm going to get to what the USA used to be, period. End of story. That's it. The old America, the old USA that we grew up in, because I'm guessing most of you guys are at least my age or older. I'm 44. The old USA that we grew up in doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't even. It's and every single year, every day, it seems to be going away even more. And yet, I'm in Mexico, right next door. I'm in another country, but right next door. And yet, here, we are embracing and welcoming all these holidays that they don't even celebrate in the USA anymore. I mean, they were even celebrating this past year. They were celebrating like what was it? St. Patrick's Day out here. In fact, they celebrate Oktoberfest out here the whole month. Usually Oktoberfest in the USA is just for like a couple days or whatever. Out here, they celebrate Oktoberfest all month. I mean, they love beer and there's a little bit of a cultural thing there. But I'm just saying, you know what I mean? And it's so sad to see, that I'm here in Mexico in a completely different culture, completely different language, completely different everything. And yet out here, I feel more at home. I feel closer to how I felt at home in the USA back in the day than I would ever feel in the USA. In fact, if I were to go to the USA right now after being gone for over 7 years, I probably wouldn't even recognize it at all. You know what I mean? Like obviously there's a lot of things that are similar. They're never going to change or whatever. But I probably wouldn't recognize it. Like for example, if I was in the USA right now, okay, I'm like, hey, let's just play little devil's advocate, or not devil's advocate. Let's play a little game here real quick. But for example, let's just pretend that I was this week, I went to Miami to go visit my sister, my family, you know what I mean? And it's Halloween. And so the kids, I mean, think about the shock, okay? I'm just in the USA hanging out with family. And then all of a sudden, my sister's like, okay, we're going to go tomorrow. We're going to do trunk or treat. And I'm like, what do you mean trunk or treat? You mean we're going to go trick or treating with the kids, right? No, no, no. We're doing trunk or treat. What do you mean? The hell's trunk or treat? And then explaining it to me, like you guys explained it to me. And then, even worse, taking me to the trunk or treat event. Oh my God, bro. Come on, man. Come on. I probably just get a bottle of tequila right there and just like down it, dunk, 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 just because I would be so upset and so sad at what has become. And again, it's not even me. The hell do I care? I'm an adult. You know what I mean? It's the kids. The kids are the ones that are suffering. Oh my God, man, you guys have just ruined my Halloween here. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, Antifa. No, I'm not dressed as Antifa. Well, kind of, sort of. I don't know what I'm dressed up as. I'm dressed up as Anonymous. I am Anonymous, Agent 67. 67. And this is the only, I just got hired yesterday. This is all they had. This is the only uniform they had. So I am Agent 67, Anonymous, former Antifa. Former Antifa, former Q. Now I'm just back to anonymous again. Anyways, all right. Enough with all. I used to be Antifa, then I worked for Q, and now I'm just back to 6-7.
Bruh.
Anyways, all right. So, oh, okay. They have good haunted houses in Miami. Okay, yeah. Well, they got haunted houses out here too. By the way, so they have haunted houses out here too. They got those scare rooms. What are those things called? Those rooms where you're locked in and you got to make your way out, whatever. Anyways, they got all that crap out here, man. So, uh, anyways, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let me see. Chocolate is too expensive to just give out to the kids these days. Yeah, I know. I agree. I agree. No, look, I mean, because I watch a lot of things, on the YouTubes and stuff like that. And I mean, I saw some lady that bought like a big bag of candy to give away to the kids, for Halloween in the USA. And, she was showing the candies and showing the whole thing. And she's like, bro, this is embarrassing. I don't even want to give the candy to the kids. Yeah, yeah. So, and oh, yeah, she spent like $50, for yeah, just terrible. So I can't even imagine how horrible it really is in the how in the USA for Halloween these days. I'm still in shock with the trunk or treat. I still can't I can't even fathom that. I thought that was wow. You know. Anyways, yeah, yeah. All right, I think we're gonna wrap it up, guys. Okay, okay. Now I mean, not wrap it up yet. We're not done. We're not done. We're actually gonna go to my other channel. All right. And we're gonna continue the live stream over there. All right, I see I already went past my time. Yeah, oh my God, I can't see anything. So again, guys, look, we're gonna go to the other channel. All right, oh, wrong button. Anyways, we're gonna go to my other channel. All right, and I gotta take a quick break because I need to get my eyesight back. I'm going blind with these glasses right now. Um, but anyways, I'm gonna put the link in the chat, and I hope to see you guys there in about 30 minutes, give or take. All right, we're gonna go live, and we're gonna have some fun over there. Gonna get a drink on. Gonna have some fun. You already know. So we're gonna go celebrate Halloween over there. No trunk or treat. All right, at all. All right, just regular trick or treating. So I hope to see you guys there in a few minutes. Like I said, we're gonna go live as soon as I'm done here. As soon as I'm done here, I'm gonna take a quick little break, and then we're gonna go over there. So again, I really hope to see you guys there. Um, Love Christian. Oh, thank you. Christian says hi. Appreciate it. Well, she's not here right now, but she says hi. What was I doing? Oh, yeah. So I'm going to put the link and I hope to see you guys there real soon. But, anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's show. We were all over the place, celebrating Halloween, celebrating the Day of the Dead. I gave you guys a little bit of a tour, of the festivities and so on and so forth. And I really hope to see you guys in a few more minutes, once we go live on the other channel. Hey, what did I do here? Hey, what am I doing? There we go. All right, all right, all right. So I hope to see you guys there, and I appreciate you guys. And thank you so much, D-Mal, for the $20 donation. Thank you so much out there, for all the love, so I can buy some candies for me and the wife and the dog and Lambo. That's right. I need some candy. All right, guys. Love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you guys on the other channel in a few minutes. See you soon. Bye.